Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán escaped from captivity not once, not twice, but 3 times. Will he be able to do it again? This is the story of El Chapo Guzmán. Outside of Guadalajara, Mexico, stands the formidable Federal Social Readaptation Center No. 2, commonly referred to as Puente Grande. This high-security facility boasts multiple layers of impenetrable walls and an abundance of guards, outnumbering the inmates nearly 2 to 1. But why such extreme measures? The answer lies in the nature of its inhabitants, drug lords, a notorious class of criminals who command their own private armies. Puente Grande's defenses must be robust enough to withstand a potential assault from these powerful external forces. Atop the towering walls, armed guards and watchtowers maintain vigilant surveillance over the compound, scrutinizing every movement in and out of the facility. Within these cells resided one of the most infamous and ruthless narco-criminals in history, Joaquín Guzmán, better known as El Chapo, renowned as a billionaire, a murderer, and even a folk hero in certain circles. Guzmán's notoriety has made him a prime target for the Mexican government, earning him the title of public enemy number 1. El Chapo stands as the quintessential narco-celebrity of the 21st century, a figure whose name strikes fear into the hearts of many. Despite his incarceration, he remains a looming presence in the world of drug trafficking, with his legacy enduring in whispered tones across certain regions of Mexico. El Chapo's ascent to power was marked by unparalleled ruthlessness, leaving a trail of devastation in the wake of his relentless pursuit of dominance in the drug trade. The toll of his actions was staggering, with tens of thousands, if not more, becoming collateral damage in the raging drug war that he orchestrated. Joaquín Guzmán's journey into the world of illicit drug trafficking began in 1972, when he started cultivating marijuana. Swiftly rising through the ranks, he became a key player in the violent international drug trade. By 1989, Guzmán had assumed leadership of the notorious Sinaloa cartel, solidifying his status as a formidable force in the criminal underworld. However, his ascent was not without bloodshed. Engaged in a bloody turf war with a rival cartel, Guzmán's actions resulted in the tragic death of a beloved Catholic bishop caught in the crossfire. This incident thrust El Chapo into the spotlight as a wanted man, hunted by both law enforcement and rival cartels alike. In response to mounting pressure, the Mexican government launched an extensive manhunt, spanning across borders in search of Guzmán. Their efforts culminated in his apprehension in Guatemala in June 1993, ultimately leading to his incarceration at Puente Grande prison. Despite the stringent security measures in place, Puente Grande proved to be a surprisingly accommodating environment for El Chapo. Leveraging his reputation for brutality and an impressive sum of $2.5 million in bribes, he quickly transformed the prison into a comfortable hub from which to orchestrate his criminal empire. Within the confines of Puente Grande, El Chapo lived a life of luxury, enjoying access to lavish amenities such as liquor, lobster, and even female companionship. Remarkably, he maintained relationships with both his main wife and his second wife, along with a prison girlfriend. Furthermore, he enjoyed unrestricted use of telephones, essentially granting him unfettered communication with the outside world. This remarkable level of privilege was made possible by El Chapo's close relationship with the deputy warden for security at Puente Grande, a man named Damaso Lopez. In exchange for monetary gifts and other perks, Lopez provided Guzmán with unparalleled freedom within the confines of the prison, effectively granting him free rein. By the time El Chapo's reign within Puente Grande reached its zenith, he had successfully bought the loyalty of nearly every official within the prison, cementing his control over the facility. Even within the confines of Puente Grande prison, El Chapo's criminal enterprises continued to thrive, with drug shipments orchestrated under his watchful eye. During this time, El Chapo conceived a groundbreaking innovation in the drug trafficking business, an innovation that would revolutionize the transportation of narcotics across heavily patrolled borders. His ingenious idea? Tunnels. By constructing elaborate underground passageways equipped with air conditioning, lighting, and an intricate railcar system, El Chapo devised a clandestine route for transporting massive quantities of marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine from Mexico into the United States. El Chapo's ambitious tunneling projects were brought to life by a team of highly skilled architects and engineers, meticulously crafting underground passages that enabled the seamless transportation of illicit goods. Despite his incarceration, El Chapo's criminal enterprise flourished, generating an estimated $20 million in monthly profits. His empire expanded exponentially, surpassing its previous heights prior to his imprisonment. His astute business acumen, coupled with the unwavering loyalty he inspired in his subordinates, ensured the continued operation of the Sinaloa cartel, even from behind bars. However, the tides of fate were about to turn, heralding a new chapter in El Chapo's tumultuous saga. In the mid to late 90s, Mexico maintained a policy of not extraditing Mexican nationals to the United States. However, a significant shift occurred in 2001 when the Mexican Supreme Court reversed this stance, signaling a resumption of extraditions to the United States, a development that deeply unsettled El Chapo. No longer could El Chapo afford the luxury of languishing in his opulent prison sanctuary. With the specter of extradition looming over him, his fears were compounded upon learning of the drug trafficking charges awaiting him in the United States. He feared his ability to coordinate drug shipments and wield influence over his criminal empire would be severely compromised within the walls of a U.S. prison cell. Realizing the gravity of his predicament, he understood that escape was his only recourse. In a remarkably short span of time, El Chapo meticulously devised an intricate scheme to break free from Puente Grande prison. He coordinated the placement of a fleet of getaway vehicles while issuing dire threats to silence anyone who might betray his secret. Central to his escape strategy is the bribery of a select small group of officials, with the aim of minimizing the risk of detection. Among these conspirators is a man named Chapo, was tasked with facilitating El Chapo's escape, disguised within a laundry cart transported in a van. Dubbed El Chito, or the Quiet One, this unassuming prison janitor served as the ideal accomplice, his inconspicuous role allowing him to evade the suspicion of his fellow guards. The Quiet One swung open the cell door, assisting El Chapo as he nestled himself amidst the heap of dirty laundry in the laundry cart, shielding him from prying eyes. With calculated precision, they navigated through the corridors, evading detection as they made their way toward freedom. At one point, as they approached a gate, Chapo let go of the cart for a moment to engage with a guard. In that heart-stopping moment, the cart began to roll toward a wall. El Chapo feared the worst. The cart would tip, revealing him inside and send him back to confinement. Yet, the cart remained upright, providing a fleeting sigh of relief. Chapo quickly grabbed hold of the cart once more and guided it out of the prison confines into the parking lot where a waiting Chevy Monte Carlo awaited. El Chapo swiftly hopped into the trunk, disappearing from sight as the prison guard whisked him away to freedom. Met by yet another vehicle, an armored Volkswagen, El Chapo was driven to a rendezvous point where a helicopter awaited. From there, he was flown to yet another undisclosed location before embarking on a multi-hour drive to Mexico City. Upon arrival, however, his elation turned to apprehension as he observed police squad cars and motorcycles surrounding him. Seeking reassurance from his driver, he nervously inquired about the surrounding police presence, only to be assured that they were allies. Unbeknownst to him, El Chapo's corrupt network of Mexico City police officers had orchestrated a motorcade to shield him from any interference by rival law enforcement agencies. Safely escorting him to a secure hideout, El Chapo wasted no time in resuming his criminal activities, undeterred by the narrow escape and the ever-looming threat of capture. His audacious escape from the maximum security confines of Puente Grande in 2001 cemented his status as an enigmatic figure, the uncatchable, the untouchable. For over a decade following his breakout, he remained elusive, evading capture by the Mexican authorities. Living as a fugitive amidst the remote mountainous terrain, El Chapo skillfully orchestrated the expansion of his narcotics empire. Leveraging his criminal prowess, he orchestrated the distribution of vast quantities of cocaine and heroin, amassing staggering profits. In a mere few years, he facilitated the transit of nearly $1 billion worth of cocaine to Chicago alone, solidifying his reputation as a formidable drug trafficker on the global stage. However, his ascent to power was not without bloodshed. Recognizing violence as a means to assert control over Mexico's drug trade, he unleashed his forces to instigate brutal turf wars in cities like Ciudad Juárez, Nuevo Laredo, and Nuevo León. These conflicts transformed once peaceful regions into war-torn battlegrounds, marked by scorched gas stations and innocent lives caught in the crossfire. El Chapo's ruthless tactics plunged pockets of Mexico into chaos, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. By 2014, both the Mexican and US governments intensified their efforts to apprehend El Chapo, ramping up the pressure on all fronts. Authorities strategically targeted him through various avenues of intelligence, meticulously organizing their operations to close in on him from multiple angles. Honing in on key individuals within his inner circle, his pilots, sons, family members, girlfriends, and spouses, leveraging their connections to gather crucial intelligence. In a significant breakthrough, the FBI successfully identified and turned Guzmán's personal IT specialist, a young Colombian operative. Through this invaluable cooperation, they gained access to El Chapo's encrypted cell phone network, providing them with unprecedented insight into his activities and movements. Armed with this newfound intelligence, authorities narrowed down El Chapo's location, pinpointing his whereabouts to a safe house where he was believed to be hiding. As the Mexican special forces descended upon the safe house, their presence was unmistakable, punctuated by the resounding thuds against the steel-reinforced door barricading the entrance. Inside, tension ran high as El Chapo's secretary relayed the imminent threat posed by the advancing military forces, their pounding reverberating through the walls. With the relentless approach of the authorities evident from the windows, El Chapo and his cohorts swiftly retreated to the bathroom. But El Chapo, ever the cunning strategist, had no intention of merely hiding there. Instead, he had devised an elaborate escape route through a hidden tunnel. Having pioneered the use of narco tunnels for clandestine activities, El Chapo recognized their potential as a means of evasion. On this fateful night, he executed a daring escape plan, utilizing a tunnel concealed beneath a false bathtub within the safe house's bathroom. The secret entrance to the tunnel lay beneath a trap door, cleverly concealed beneath the bathtub lid. To access it, a makeshift switch rigged from a paperclip was used to trigger an electrical current, effectively burning out the caulking, sealing the bathtub. With the hidden entrance unsealed, a hydraulic hinge allowed access to the tunnel below. Quickly, El Chapo, accompanied by his girlfriend, secretary, and cook, descended into the network of tunnels, evading capture as the Mexican Marines closed in. By the time the authorities breached the safe house, he was no longer there, As they combed through the abandoned safe house, they found clothes strewn across the bedroom floor and scattered drug prescription bottles, a diamond-encrusted pistol adorned with his initials, an array of narcotics and various accoutrements befitting a drug lord of his stature. But the man they were looking for was gone. Opting for a seemingly inconspicuous hideout, El Chapo sought refuge in the beach town of Mazatlan. Surprisingly, he chose not to retreat to his usual mountain sanctuaries, but instead selected a tourist destination where he could blend in amidst vacationing Americans. Authorities eventually located El Chapo at the Hotel Miramar, a popular tourist spot, narrowing the gap in their quest to apprehend the elusive kingpin. Upon receiving confirmation of his whereabouts, forces swiftly descended upon the hotel. They drove their vehicles into the underground parking garage and stormed toward their target. This time, there would be no chance for escape. As El Chapo found himself back behind bars, the Mexican authorities were wise enough not to return him to Puente Grande. Instead, they opted for the most secure facility in Mexico, Federal Social Readaptation Center No. 1, aka Altiplano. Altiplano stood as a fortress, virtually impenetrable and notorious for its stringent security measures. Surrounded by walls capable of withstanding military assaults and equipped with technology rendering cell phones useless, it posed a formidable challenge to any escape attempt. Crucially, within its confines, El Chapo was no longer under the influence of his cartel-controlled guards. Despite the seemingly insurmountable obstacles, with the specter of U.S. extradition looming overhead, El Chapo wasted no time in mobilizing his network to defy the odds and become the first person to escape confines of Altiplano. His communication with the outside world was limited to approved visitors, primarily his lawyer, Oscar Lopez, and his wife. With their assistance, along with coordination with his sons, known as Los Chapitos, El Chapo initiated a plan to break free from captivity. He faced significant challenges. Confined to his cell for 23 hours a day, monitored by video surveillance and equipped with a GPS ankle monitor, he was well aware of the heightened security measures in place. Unlike his previous escape, where he simply walked out the front door, breaking out of Altiplano would require a far more intricate and risky plan. Being El Chapo, the obvious choice for the daring plan was to build a tunnel right underneath the walls of the fortress and right up to his cell. To execute the tunneling aspect of the escape plan, the first step was to secure a suitable piece of property located in close proximity to Altiplano prison. However, not too close so as to draw undue attention from authorities. A dedicated team, acting essentially as real estate agents, was tasked with scouring the area to identify a suitable location. Once the property near Altiplano prison was secured, the daunting engineering challenge of constructing the tunnel began. El Chapo's associates faced their most formidable task yet. With pervasive 24-hour video surveillance in his cell, only the shower area was partially concealed by a half wall. They would need to dig a tunnel that would emerge precisely at this hidden location within the cell, digging a 1-mile tunnel underground to emerge precisely at the location of his shower stall without a reliable way to locate the stall seemed nearly impossible. Even a slight miscalculation in their angle of measurement could result in missing the target by a significant margin. It was a feat unlike any seen in the history of escapes. In January of 2015, El Chapo devised a clever plan to assist his men in locating the exact position the tunnel should reach within the prison. The idea was to smuggle in a GPS device so that once activated by Chapo, the builders of the tunnel would know precisely where the other end needed to be. However, smuggling anything into Altiplano was extremely challenging due to the numerous security checkpoints. Nevertheless, El Chapo decided to take the risk. enlisting the help of his most trusted family members to smuggle a GPS watch to him. With the GPS watch in hand, El Chapo's men could track its signal underground, guiding their digging efforts day and night. But constructing the tunnel presented other obstacles, such as ensuring proper ventilation and lighting. They installed thousands of feet of PVC piping for ventilation and thousands of fluorescent light bulbs for illumination. Additionally, they concealed a generator disguised as a barbecue pit to power the lights and ventilation system. The scale of the operation was immense, involving extensive logistical planning and the coordination of a large team of workers. They even laid makeshift railroad tracks and used modified mining carts to transport equipment and remove dirt from the tunnel without being detected. El Chapo finally received word that the tunnel is nearing completion, and he specified a significant date for his escape plan: Saturday, July 4th. This date held importance because on weekends, the prison staff at Altiplano was typically reduced, making it an opportune time for the breakout. Additionally, July 4th was chosen to embarrass the American government by demonstrating that he could escape on their national holiday. However, the plan couldn't be executed in time for July 4th, so it was postponed for 1 week. El Chapo's aspiration to orchestrate his escape on Independence Day goes unfulfilled, but he sets his sights on Saturday, July 11th, 2015, as the day when his team will attempt to break him out and secure his freedom. After nearly a year of anticipation, the crucial moment arrives for Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. It's the night he will attempt his daring escape from Altiplano prison. A video recording captured Guzmán's demeanor on the eve of his breakout. He's seen lounging on his bed, engrossed in what appears to be a comedy show playing on a digital tablet. The laughter and applause from the show fill the room as he waits patiently. Occasionally, he rises from the bed, paces around, and then returns to his seat, still listening to the program. Meanwhile, in the background, the tablet's volume is turned up to mask the noise of workers laboriously digging beneath the floor of Guzmán's cell. Then, as the digging intensified, Guzmán sprang into action. He calmly put on his shoes, stood up, and headed toward the shower cell, a rare corner of privacy shielded from the view of the surveillance cameras. With a sense of purpose, he stepped into the shower, disappearing from sight in a pivotal moment that marked the beginning of his escape. After slipping into the hole concealed beneath his shower cell, Guzmán descended a makeshift ladder, dropping 15 to 20 feet into the darkness below. Waiting for him was his wife's brother, a trusted accomplice in the meticulously planned escape. With swift efficiency, Guzmán mounted a waiting motorcycle. The engine roared to life as he took off, navigating through the narrow confines of the tunnel, stretching a mile ahead towards freedom. Emerging on the other end of the tunnel, Guzmán was greeted by accomplices who helped him ascend a ladder to the surface. Waiting nearby, an ATV, ready to whisk him away from the scene at breakneck speed. As Guzmán made his getaway, nearly 40 minutes elapsed before prison guards realized his absence and rushed to investigate. Inside cell number 20, where the notorious drug lord had been held, there was only emptiness, a stark reminder of the audacious escape that had just unfolded. Alarms blared throughout Altiplano, but by then, El Chapo was long gone, evading capture with a considerable head start. Under the cover of night, El Chapo was driven to a waiting semi-truck, an 18-wheel behemoth ready to transport him to freedom. The truck embarked on a journey lasting 2 hours, traversing the distance from Toluca, where Altiplano prison was located, to the quieter town of San Juan, Querétaro. Upon arrival in San Juan, Querétaro, El Chapo was swiftly ushered aboard a small private plane, piloted by one of his most trusted and skilled aviators. Demonstrating his meticulous planning, El Chapo ensured that there were two planes prepared for departure, one serving as a decoy, the other destined to carry him to safety. The plane whisked him away from the flatlands of Mexico, soaring towards the familiar sanctuary of the Sinaloa mountains. There, nestled within the rugged terrain, lay his most secure and secluded hideaway, known as the Sky, an impenetrable fortress where El Chapo could evade capture and continue to orchestrate his criminal empire from the shadows. Ultimately, after 6 months on the run, Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán's freedom came to an end when he was recaptured. This time, he was swiftly extradited to the United States to face justice. In a landmark trial, he was sentenced to life in prison, plus an additional 30 years for his crimes. Currently, El Chapo resides in Florence, Colorado, confined within the walls of the Supermax prison, a facility renowned for its stringent security measures and nicknamed the Alcatraz of the Rockies. Here, he lives a life of isolation with minimal contact with the outside world. Despite being housed in a facility designed to prevent escapes, authorities remain vigilant. With someone as cunning and resourceful as El Chapo, they know they can never afford to let their guard down. Because with a criminal mastermind as cunning as El Chapo, you just never know.